Good Company tips. These are tips for the video game Good Company. This is an example of what the game looks like. Basically, it's a logistics game where you have pallets, you have manufacturing, you have input, you have output, you make purchases, and you sell. You have workers that develop a product. Build pallets in such a way that workers walk the shortest distance between the pallets. If workers are carrying items from one building to another, try to arrange the pallets such they are nearest to each other by distance. So, first of all, within a building, you want the pallets to be equidistant to all the workers, so you're probably going to put the pallets in the center of your building. Over here, the pallets are by the door, but they could have been moved into the center. Not going to make that big of a difference, not that long of a walk. If they're going from one building to another, you see we've got the garage door over here. It doesn't look like there are doors to another building, but they might walk out here and across the street to another building. You want to make it so that they walk the shortest distance. So another technique is to put the pallets near all the doorways. When crafting or assembling items, try to build tables near each other, such that workers use the same shelf for receiving materials that all workers commonly use. So you see you've got all these different tables over here, and there's two that are adjacent over here. We've got two that are adjacent. Two that are adjacent. We've got some shelves over here. There's lots of different layouts. I did not use one like this, but you can put the shelves so that workers from two different stations can access the same shelf, and put people that work with the same raw materials so that when the materials are brought in, they can both use them. Or if a material goes to one and then it goes to the other, make them share a shelf. Everything will be produced more efficiently, quickly. If you don't do it, the shelves will have many items in low quantities. So what happens is they'll put some stuff on the shelf, and if everyone has their own shelf and a guy needs two different parts, he might only have one part. So you get some parts that are sitting there without a match. And the other guy might be in the same situation. If they share the shelf, you decrease the chance you have unmatched parts. You don't need one shelf per table. Many work tables can share the same shelf. So what you can do is put the tables in like a little square, which this player did not do that, and then put the shelves in the middle so that all they have to do is turn around to access a shelf and then continue working. You can place shelves outside of buildings. So one thing that I learned is I put some shelves outside the buildings in the exterior, and you can put the shelves in the exterior of the building. If pallets are full, couriers might go back and forth between pallets without dropping off items. So I had a pallet in one building, a pallet in another building, and they were picking up from one pallet, going to the other, but the other pallet was full, so they would come back with what they started with. And what will happen is they'll just go back and forth. If pallets are full, you might have a surplus and can sell some of your components in order to keep people working. So the way I solved it is I just sold some of the items that were in surplus because there was just way too much surplus. Sometimes a finished product cannot be placed on a pallet because a pallet is filled with raw materials. One way to fix it is to have two pallets, one for finished products and another for components. So I had, again, a situation where I was importing a lot of raw materials, but they weren't processing them fast enough. So when I wanted to put the finished products down, I couldn't put the finished products down. You can buy a building by clicking on the for sale sign on the building. So you'll see that there are buildings adjacent. Obviously, it's not shown in this particular screen, but you can go to the other buildings and you can buy them. The logistics employee must be able to reach a shelf in order for the shelf to be usable. Make sure he's not blocked from accessing each shelf. So what happened with me is I had built a shelf, and to me it looked like, yeah, fine, the guy can easily get around, but he wasn't able to. And after a while, I noticed he wasn't dropping anything on the shelf, and I realized, okay, this shelf needs to be removed. And when I removed the shelf, they started working again. So it's possible to block someone with a shelf if you don't lay it down properly. Now, I want you to know that this company has released 2 games that are the same game but with different graphics. One of them is called Good Company. The other one, I don't remember what it's called, but it has little droids that hover above the ground, and it's basically exactly the same game, except for the graphics are different. Okay, so those are my tips for Good Company. I believe I played a free demo, which might still be out there. It's under Business Management Sim at cheapbooks.cc. You can also go to video-game-news.com if you want to see guides on playing other video games. And if you're a student, go to cheapbooks.com to buy your textbooks. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.